All right, so Nexus Ops is on the table. This is the very first pick your play that our Discord picked for us. The pick our play for June is on Discord, so check that out, vote for it, and let us know what we're going to be playing. So Nexus Ops, it's been a bit since we've played this one.
It has been a while.
I think John is probably the most familiar. You want to kind of give us the running gear?
Yeah, so this is as dudes on a map a game as you're ever going to get, and everybody has their own little faction. There are 6 different kinds of units that you can put out onto the board, and the idea is to go out onto this other planet terrain, claim territory, score points, and whoever gets to 12 points first is the winner. So you score points by completing tasks. Winning a battle is a task. You get a point for that, but sometimes you have special tasks that will give you points. If you win a battle where you kill a dragon, you get points. If you win a battle in a particular kind of terrain, you get points. So although territory conquest is important because it allows you to get resources and build up more money, and you use money to buy more armies, fundamentally, you win the game by scoring points. So make sure you take your territory, make sure you hold your territory, but you're doing that to earn money, to hold territory, and to score points. It's kind of a Euro-esque sort of dudes on a map game, and the version we're playing is the original version. It has this larger-than-life look and feel that just kind of makes the game look crazy on the table.
It makes me think of laser tag.
You're right. It's got that kind of vibe to it. It's
yeah,
a laser
definitely
tag
has a laser
sort
tag
of
vibe.
Yep, everything is bright and garish, and to the point where it has its own sort of personality, and it finds a way to make it work in spite of all of the colors just sort of being all over the place. So
good call there, Sam.
Yep,
yeah.
And there's a couple of different ways to play it. You can play, first of all, you can play 2 players, you can play 3 players, you can play 4 players, and if you like, you can play 4 players with teams where the people on the opposite side of the board are working together to total up their points.
Is that what we're doing?
We almost always play 4 players, every man for himself, or woman for herself, as the case should be. The one thing that's sort of a point of interest is in the middle is this piece that is kind of raised up above all the others. That is the monolith. Whoever owns that monolith gets these energized cards that are really valuable. They allow you to kind of break the rules. They give you some special capabilities. You use those in battle. You can make gravity go sideways. You can do all sorts of crazy things with them that make it an advantage for you to do your thing. So
you always harp on the term favored ground. This is the very definition of favored ground, wouldn't you say?
Yes. This is a great example of getting to some place that is more important and holding it.
It looks like King of the Hill.
And that's precisely what it is. And somebody getting up there first isn't a crisis, but letting that person stay there for an extended period of time is. And if somebody gets up there and manages to hold that for 2 or 3 turns, they are suddenly going to become far stronger. So even though you need to get your points to win the game and you need to conquer your territory in order to get your resources, at some point you got to look at anybody who's staying up on top of that hill, and you got to say, all right, it's time for them to go.
It's time to knock them off.
Yeah, so it may be something where you can't finish the job, but you can start it, and you hope for the person beside you to finish the job after you've gone up there and knocked them down a peg. And I'll just mention that the gentleman that's sitting to my left is usually the first person to get up there, even though I try very hard to beat him to it. It's pretty rare that I manage to do that.
It's a point of pride for Chris to get on the monolith first. I think in his mind, and you can speak to this obviously because I'm speaking for you, but if you get on the monolith first, you've won the game in your mind, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe I'll switch things up a little bit, you know?
I do know, or I think I remember that one of the more valuable secret missions is to knock somebody off of the monolith. So it's not always just a matter of dethroning a person. It's also you get a lot of points for you potentially can get a lot of points.
That card. Yep.
Yeah.
So you end up with secret mission cards that you hold in your hand, so nobody knows what you're going after. And sometimes it's a tiny little thing. You just kill one particular kind of unit and you get an extra point. If you just win a battle and you don't have any special secret mission card, you get a point.
You get a booby prize.
You always get something. But if you have a secret mission card and it's possible you could have a secret mission card that gives you 1 or 2 points, plus you get the win a battle point as well. So there's ways. So you could have a battle where you score 2, 3, or even 4 of your 12-point goal for the entire game. So you want to get in, you want to get into a battle. Sometimes you don't even have to win. You just need to kill a unit in a particular kind of space, get your points, get out. And there are times when battles will sit for a round after another round after another round where things just kind of keep stewing, and that's okay too. That's just the nature of Nexus Ops.
Sometimes this turns into a war of attrition.
Yep.
Well, I mean, so this isn't what you would consider a total domination game like Risk or
Right, you're not
Axis
wiping
and
them out.
Allies. It's really about taking strategic locations and holding them. So it's got a very, very strong area control, area majority type of, well, not a majority because you can't share, but it's definitely got an area control aspect to it that, you get your resources so you can buy more troops, and then you attack. Certain troops attack better from certain areas, and then some of them attack better going into certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of
Yeah.
there's a lot of modifications that go around to kind of
And
help
there's
inform how you're gonna.
And there's
take
this other little twist in the rules during combat that makes the game very interesting, because sometimes, even though you're on attack, you have to sacrifice units, and you attack your strongest units to your weakest units. So there will be a time where you need to take a loss, but the battle's not over. Your weaker units still have the ability to attack, and they can still win the round. Well, if you lose a unit, you want to lose weak units. That sort of makes sense to everybody. But they still get the chance to attack. So you might want to say, oh, boy, I really want to win this battle. I'm going to sacrifice a stronger unit
That is
more
already
expensive
battled.
because they've already gone. So you get into these tough calls where you need to decide, do I want to sacrifice this weak unit that I can replace very easily, or am I going to take my shots, hope for the best, and hope that those weak units can bring it home by sacrificing one of my bigger, more expensive units?
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. It's really in your face, and I think this is gonna be really good on the back end. So let's get started, and we'll be right back.
I think if you count the number of pips I rolled, it was about 23 total.
All
for the
total, yeah.
entire game.
Out of 10 rolls.
You rolled a lot of ones.
I rolled a pile of ones, and even units that were hitting on 2s and 3s, I was rolling ones.
Yeah, I guess a 1 is worse than just hit. I mean, I guess, is it worse to roll a 1 or to have one that is 1 away from where you need it to be?
What's the difference?
One is
You did
demoralizing.
hit.
there is no
that's
one
an
is just
interesting
demoralizing.
philosophy. Yeah. A one mocks you, whereas one short is like, oh, if I had just done a little better.
I suppose.
That's an interesting
I
philosophical
mean, yeah,
question.
analytically it doesn't matter because it's either what you need or not what you need.
Right, but it's what does your heart tell you
But
That's
is
true.
worth.
Is
And
it-
missing on a 2 or higher.
Is it emotional? Is it more emotional of a hit to roll a 1 or to roll just 1 less?
It's
So-
definitely rolling a 1. Like
Yeah,
when
the
you,
one- I mean,
when you need a 2 or higher and you roll a 1.
Oh, that's a whole other
it's
story.
devastating.
Because you're getting double.
But if you
it's
need a-
mocking you both ways.
But if you need a 3 or higher and you roll a 1, you're like, couldn't be helped.
I suppose, yeah. I suppose.
But yeah, I mean, when it's a pile of 1s, it's just they're just sitting there staring at you, and you're like, "Why, guys? Why? Why'd you have to do that?"
This game of Nexus Ops felt like a mosh pit. Like somebody dropped us into a paper bag and we're trying to fight our way
people are,
out.
Like on all sides of the board. I mean, usually you kind of have your home base and you kind of push out in a direction and you all kind of blob up against each other. And there's a fairly well-defined front. And there were people all over the place. And I was trying to get into his home base because I had a special card for points there. And it just it was always just a little bit too far and I couldn't quite reach it. And I'm like, well, that's not going to work. So it never quite happened. But yeah, everybody was just sort of every place on this one.
Well, I mean, you kind of talked about it like it was area control, but it really isn't.
It really is. It wasn't this game, because
Sure.
So there are. I mean, it's not like pure area control like El Grande or some other area control games I can't think of right now. But there are area control aspects to where you need to control the crystalline areas to get your points
To get your dollars.
and to get your dollars.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So that there are definitely elements of area control, but there is very much an aspect where you don't. I suppose what I mean is the area control often doesn't help you win. It helps you get
Right,
more
'cause-
units on the board, but you don't win until you score the points.
Right, and the points are going to come to you in odd sort of ways. It's going to say you need to win in a fungal forest.
So
and
it's
at that
like-
point, it may be it's just a single unit. You just need to go over there and go boink, and pop it away, and you pick up 2 points doing it.
It's kind of like with. I'm remembering when we played Scythe, and in the final round, like the area you controlled didn't matter at all until the end of the game, where you scored a bunch of points based on how much territory you controlled.
And you spread out your military.
And so I
Just push
2
your
or
guys
3
off
games,
in every
I
direction.
just painted the
smeared
map
them as far as you could.
and won big because I figured it out, and everyone else was like, "Well, why are you doing that?" I'm like, "Because I get a bunch of points."
Yeah.
I won, and you caught on, and it didn't work as well. But this is the same sort of thing where I don't care about controlling the area unless I really need the money. I just
Right,
care
you
about
need some bucks,
winning the
enough
points.
to keep you rolling. And frankly, I was never hurting for units, and my area was just decimated. But I didn't need the money. I needed the wins, and I got up on the monolith, and I came in last place. But I got up on the monolith, and I had energized cards. I managed to hold it there for 2, maybe 3 turns. I
yeah,
had
I had enough energized cards to win. I didn't need any more.
Yep,
Yeah,
and I could use them.
Yeah, Sam's early monolith hold is what won him the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because those energized cards came in very handy for him. And he could have won in a plethora of ways because of the different cards that he had.
I actually should have won a whole round earlier, but I
just
misplayed.
OPC'd one of your
I was
battles.
like,
Yeah.
I should have gone to one other space and won one more battle.
Right, you
And
would
I
have got
would've-
one more point, and that
I
would have
would've
been
appreciate
one
you
more
holding
point.
off on that because that gave me that little bit of breather to come into a solid second
I
place.
want to circle back around. I think when you described it as a mosh pit, I think that is the perfect definition for this game.
I mean, that's kind of the point, isn't it? You just
Yeah,
kind of like,
I mean, it's you got to be up in everybody's face because you're not going to get anywhere
And it's
playing
not-
nice.
And
Yeah.
it's not a big map, so it's not like you can kind of go hide in the corner. I mean,
Yeah.
you're up against somebody on your
You're going
second
to
turn.
be able to, for the most part, hold on to your 3 home spots and then maybe 2 other ones consistently.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody wants to take those from you, it's not going to be too hard for them to do
Yeah,
that.
if they set their mind to it, they're going to do it.
Yeah, and it's not like games where you can build a build a fort and fortify in, and this is mine. There's no way you're taking it from me. I mean, everything on the board is open.
Yeah,
Even your home spaces can be taken from you.
And the game is not going to last long enough for that dig in to pay off, because the dig in's going to buy you a couple of dollars, and that's great. But when it comes right down to it, you win the game by either winning battles or doing special tasks inside battles, which
Yeah.
means you can't turtle. You need to go out and do things that are in those points. You need to go attack.
yeah, and
yeah. I mean, I won pretty handily. I think I got.
I think
Yeah, I
it
think
was
you-
because you were pretty aggressive.
And I was
Yeah.
I was pretty aggressive early on. I did get some lucky dice,
And you had some good cards to work
and
with.
I had some
and
good
that-
cards.
That helps
but,
too.
But there's still the fact that throughout the game, I had the least amount of territory and the least income, and I think the least number of units on the board for most of the game.
But
Well,
you
yeah,
just
but
weren't losing
I
any.
think I had less territory for most of the last of the game. I had
I
think I had 1 mine outside of my home base, and I think I had at the end I had 2 empty hexes in front of me, and Chris had like come clean across and had a hex that was closer to
for like
to
the
Steven.
last 3 rounds, I controlled my home base and 1 spot outside of it.
So we were even on that,
Yeah, and then in the last 2 rounds, I didn't even control that,
right? Because you didn't need it. You had enough.
so
to,
they didn't
to
need
close
to.
your deal.
I knew it was like, okay, I need
to
to
be
get
fair, this
the points.
So this is a game that you played at 12 points, and it's pretty rare that you win 12 to 11 to 10 to 9. I mean, this is a game where typically whoever gets to 12 points got a couple of breaks, made a couple of smart moves, and they win 12 to 6 to 5 to 3. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
I
usually not a real blowout.
I went from I think 2 points to 6 points, and then I went to 11 points, but I could have gone to 12.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
You know, I've had swings like that where I've gotten 5 and 6 points in a turn as well. But, this time around, I just didn't get the victory point cards to do it.
If you have the
Yeah,
right
so-
combination of cards, you can really jump in
Yeah,
points.
and the nice thing, the game is short enough that when somebody rolls, they're going to get rolling, and wins bring wins, and so somebody who gets to 6 or 7 is going to get to 12 pretty quick, probably.
Yeah, I mean, my economy wasn't as good as your guys, but the dice went my way a few crucial times, and so you ended up in a situation where you spent your turn's income putting units together, and then they all died, and I didn't lose anything.
And more to the point, just didn't do anything.
Yeah,
I'd go out and attack and be like, nope. It's like, all right.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll a bunch of ones. It's great.
And it's a light enough game, and it's a quick enough game, and that it sucks not winning, but how personally are you gonna take it? And you can always say, well, it's the dice. It's not my fault. I got bad dice. So next time we play, I'll do better.
Yeah, I'll bring my loaded dice.
That's right. Bring your cheap dice.
Dice that have 6s instead of 1s.
Yes, 2 sets of 6s.
So I was happy. Anytime I hold the monolith is a good game for me, and I got a good chunk on the monolith, and that worked out real well. Chris, what the heck, dude? You were the only guy that wasn't up there battling with the best of us.
Oh, I don't think you touched. No, you did touch it once, and then I promptly kicked you off, didn't I?
Yeah.
Because I had that one rock spider who just kept rolling and then not dying.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, there was that, and then John was creeping up with some creatures or some of his guys.
Some big guys.
To the side of me, and so it was kind of like, oof, if he goes up there, I can go and take 2 of those mines.
Right. So it's...
And I had spots, I had some things that would allow me to win, and to win battles.
And it's the kind of game like that where you kind of look at your opponents and go, well, he's the kind of guy that tends to go up there. He's certainly coming into pin force, so I'll wiggle around. I'll get my points another way. So you're always playing to conditions, and I think it's kind of neat that way.
I did really like the energized cards. I think those were fun.
Yeah.
I was disappointed because
How many
I
of those
had.
Did you see, Steven?
How many what's?
Of those energized cards.
I had
did
one
you see?
energized card that allowed me to reinitiate a battle.
Gotcha.
I saw a bunch of them.
Which would have been really worthwhile for me, because that one battle I would have loved to have taken on the butt.
I didn't pull it off because it ended up not being the best way to play the cards. But I really wanted to use the card that let me teleport 4 fungoids to another space.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to teleport them there and then reverse the initiative order, so they went first, give them all 2 attacks, and then play 2 outflank cards so they all had +2 to hit. So they would have
that would have been an impressive waste of energized cards.
It would have been 8 attacks hitting on 2s.
Them to waste.
It would have been an epic battle.
It would have been hilarious. And Chris had that big group of humans, and I was like, ooh, I could just roll through them. But I was like, but why? Like, I'd do all that and I'd get 1 point.
Oh, but see, that's not how you play Nexus Ops. Nexus Ops, you do all that and you get your 1 point. And at the end you crow about the fact, see, I got 1 point by playing all those cards.
And I would have gotten energized.
And he would have gotten an energized because he would have
been
lost
okay
the
with
battle.
Not worth.
Yeah, it probably would have ended in a stalemate.
Yeah.
And then I would have said, all right, I'll see you later.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the one thing I will say, the dragons really kind of stunk up the place today, didn't they? Which is the strongest piece on the board.
Did any of the breath weapons work?
I think one
I
breath
had
weapon
one
hit.
breath weapon work.
Mine landed a couple times.
And that's a 50-50 shot, and they just kept not working. And frankly, even their attacks where they only needed 2 were, they even missed a couple of those.
To be honest, I really like the design of the dragons. Like, I'm kind of iffy on...
You mean the look or the way they play?
The mechanical design, how they play.
Yeah.
I mean, they look kind of neat, too, but...
They just need to go a little farther. You start them in your home base, and you're moving 1 step at a time.
Yeah, they take a while.
Geez.
They take a while. But the mechanical design where they're hands down the strongest unit in the game. They hit first in combat.
Yep.
They hit on 2s.
And they breathe.
And,
so they got a special attack.
Or they have the breathe weapon.
Right, and if you don't put them in melee, then they're the only unit with a ranged attack where you can shoot into somebody else's hex.
You can take a pot shot at someone.
And kill something on a 4 or higher.
Yep.
And I really like the dichotomy there where if you don't put them at risk, they're okay. Right? There's a lot of utility there, but maybe you just don't roll a 4 or higher, and then they've done nothing. Or you can put them in there, and now they're basically guaranteed to kill something before it can hit back.
Yeah, but my problem with my dragons were everything around, all the good targets beside what was up on the monolith were down to like 1 unit. So it was kind of like...
If you torch it, there's a battle there that you could have won.
Yeah.
Gotten
Right,
points
but
for.
but if there's only one unit, you hardly risk anything by moving the dragon in.
Oh no.
Because
I'm sorry.
you just roll the dragon in and kill it.
So
Yeah, there's that.
what ended up happening was I rolled my dragon up, and the 2 spaces next to the dragon where I could go in and fight were lava spaces, but all I had were humans. So I couldn't take them in for flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing is the dragons are very powerful, but they're not any more durable than anything else. Which means you spent $12, a huge amount of money,
Yeah.
on a one guy that will go down just as easily as everything else.
And the way there's 6 different kinds of units, and the way they're designed, they all kind of repost each other. So you've got that lava leaper, which is just below them. That if they roll a 5 or higher, they get to pick what they kill.
Oh yeah.
So
and
they
I
can
killed
take out
Chris's,
that
and he
dragon.
was mad about it.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have mattered.
So each
It
one,
wouldn't have mattered in the long run, no. But
right?
It felt good.
Each one has its own little special ability that manages to kind of worry you when you're playing all of the others. So it's really, considering, I mean, the rule book is maybe 6 or 8 pages, and it's kind of big print with a lot of pictures. This is a game you learn in 5 or 10 minutes in detail. It's just not that hard. And frankly, we were cracking open a brand new, still shrink wrapped copy. And, we had it up and running in, 15, 20 minutes probably when all was said and done.
Yeah, I mean, there's like 2 rules that come up infrequently that you have to remind yourself of. The lava leaper with the 5 or higher attack.
Right, gets to pick his target.
Gets to pick the target. And then as a defender, if you get wiped out of a territory, you get an energized card.
You get an energized card, right.
And secret missions can only be finished on your turn.
On your own turn, right.
So, I mean, the secret missions part, that's in the rules. That should make sense. But those 2 other, they're not edge cases, but they're infrequent cases that
Just enough you want to make sure
you kind of have to
look
remember
them up
those
before you
words.
play.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really simple rule set, which is great. And, Samuel says this was his first time playing, but I think
It was not.
Yeah.
I have played this before. I don't remember when, but playing it,
It's been a long time for all of us.
It has been a
Yeah.
while.
It's been definitely
And,
a while.
he was asking questions while we were kind of giving the rules explanation. And, John was like, well, there really aren't a lot of edge cases here. Like, even if you look at the cards are pretty self-explanatory.
I mean, the only edge case we had was because the initiative of combat is based on the units involved. So if the attacker and the defender have the same type of unit, they roll at the same time.
Right.
And technically you would remove casualties simultaneously because most of the time the person who loses the piece picks which one gets removed. And the question was, well, sometimes that might matter, I guess. So
we
what
just
order
declared
do
it
you
ahead
remove
of
them
time.
in? And John just picked one. But frankly, I think we spent more time on that than we needed to.
Yeah,
that
we
wasn't-
kind of
that wasn't even that
hypotheticaled
big a
it to death. And then when the case actually came up, it was like, yeah, who cares?
Yeah, it didn't make that
never
much of a
actually
difference.
mattered.
Yeah,
There was
I
that one as-
suppose it could matter, but it's the kind of
I mean,
thing
this
where you
isn't
just
tournament
declare it
level
ahead of
play, gentlemen. This is
Right.
The one other was I could kill 2 humans, and it didn't say like in the same hex, so I was able to pick 2 different
Yeah, I
hexes.
mean, it
but
doesn't-
I'm
yeah.
used to.
It didn't say. It just said kill 2 humans.
time.
Yeah, see,
it was a big
that-
radiation cloud.
and that was you reading into it too hard.
I guess being used to what other games
Yeah.
kind of force you to do.
I mean, yeah, this is early Avalon Hill, and I say early. I think it's 2004,
2005, I think. Yeah, something in that neck of the woods.
and so
Yeah, so and straight up, this is a game designed for teenage boys. I mean, that's, I'm sure, was their target market, and this is when Avalon Hill was not, the egghead sort of, Revolutionary War battles Avalon Hill. This was when Avalon Hill was producing some of their far more mainstream market stuff, Axis and Allies and that sort of thing.
all of the
Yeah. So this is
all of their coffin box ones.
This is designed to be light and fast and come out onto the table real quick and easy. And the board is just modular enough that things are a little bit interesting without being too crazy. And and there's enough variability that you're going to get a different play every time. And with the dice in it, you're going to get you're going to have to roll with the punches.
All right, so the fact that the miniatures glow in the dark automatically is like, this is marketed towards teenage boys.
Glow in the dark or glow with a black light?
Black light.
Yes,
so
fluorescent.
They fluorescent under black light.
They were pretty looking.
Yeah, so there's a couple pictures. I'll post some when we post the episode. But
So I'll ask a question, and I don't think any of us know the answer. Does the new reprint version have any rule changes at all?
Honestly, I don't know. It could be something that we explore later. But
If anybody knows, call us.
Put us on
Call Steve.
Discord.
John's phone number is.
I'd just be curious to know if the new version,
Yeah, I don't
made
know.
any changes to the rules at all. It's Fantasy Flight Games, and they sort of have a habit of
Yeah, they like to
things
quote,
relatively
clean
arbitrarily.
things up. So
Yeah.
I'll make a Discord channel for discussion for Nexus Ops, and if there are differences, please hop in and let us know, and we'll kind of discuss
like to
whether
talk.
they're better or not.
Yeah.
So this was a great pick for a vote for our game, and so that's pretty cool. And if the picks go this good, this is going to be a whole lot of good time because we've had this game for years, and I don't think we've played this in 6 or 8 years at this
No,
point.
we played it like 4 years ago.
No, we played it more recently than that.
My last log was 2019.
I think John and I
Okay.
played this, just the two of us.
Really?
Yeah, I think we played it as a 2-player while we were. It was at a Delaware weekend 2 years ago, maybe.
Now I got to look that up. Somebody keep talking while I look
I
that
don't know.
up.
Well, I know I've played it 2 players with John.
Yeah.
And this game is still readily
I don't
available.
recall playing this 2-player.
I saw it on eBay for somewhere around $50 for this copy of the game.
This version.
This version.
printing. Yeah.
So I mean, it's not terribly hard to find. It's a neat game. If you like it was stressful the whole time. I mean, you're like I said, you're in a mosh pit.
It's a mosh pit.
There's no letting up.
There's elbows and knees and feet and just everything flying all over the place. It's
And I think the game it's one of the games that that manages to bridge the casual player and the more gamey kind of player both at the same time. So from that perspective, it's a nice kind of birthday gift. If you got a teenage boy and you want to spend some time with him, find some quality time, this would be a nice place to pick it, even if he's
I
more
think it helps
interested in
teach
video
how to
games.
deal with conflict. But we have some people in our group that hate conflict.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So the conflict in this game is very forced.
Yeah, you have to. That's the whole point.
You have to, and people that aren't into conflict might have a problem with this game. But at the same time, the conflict is so in the forefront and just so like.
Yeah, the cards are essentially driving what you're going to do. You don't take it personally when somebody comes after you.
Yeah, so it makes it where, okay, I need to attack John, but I don't feel bad about it because he's got the units that I need to kill.
Yeah. It's interesting hearing you guys talk about it because, I mean, this was not that kind of experience for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a conflict game, but it doesn't feel like a conflict game.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard
when
to
you
take
don't-
it personally when somebody has a secret card that says, I just need to kill that one unit of yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not like in Risk when y'all pile on to
Right, to
when you
destroy
pile
one
onto
player.
me and just completely destroy my city.
It's because Chris told us to.
Yeah,
Wow,
because
you-
Chris told you.
I can
the
actually see
game-
some bitterness in your eyes.
In the
You're
previous game.
You're
I'm so mad.
Still angry about that.
Yeah, I don't have
Yeah.
a capital city in that game anymore.
Well, as
we
long as it's
talking
not
about
a
that Risk
legacy game,
Legacy
what's the
game?
big deal?
Yeah.
Oh, it is Risk Legacy?
It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
Risk
God,
Legacy.
that sucks,
Yeah,
dude.
he
And
killed
it's
my.
still going on. And we all signed our names that we would finish.
Yeah,
Aren't we
no,
all here?
We are.
We all are
Oh,
here.
no.
So getting back to Nexus Ops, I played exactly 4 years ago here.
Okay.
So, and then before that, it was
We
2017.
weren't here 4 years ago, were we?
No, I've owned this place for
in Delaware.
a year and a half now.
Yeah.
And then before that, it goes back to 2014. So I've played 2 games in the last 10 years or so.
This would be a fun one
This
on
was the
Board
third
Game
one.
Arena.
So yeah, we
Quick and
get this
fast.
out more. It's and that's what we keep doing when we're doing these podcasts. We end up getting these games. Say, well, let's go with something a little deeper, a little bigger, a little more legendary, and we end up pulling these games out. And we're like, why are we not playing these games instead? And we do a whole lot of games that are, I'm not gonna even blame it on new or old. They're just kind of they're okay, and we have fun. But then we get these games out, and we're like, wow, this is the kind of stuff we should be playing more of. This is just a little meatier, a little more fun.
This is like a puzzle game. It really is.
Yeah, there's a part of it. How can I figure out how to make my cards work to the way it's what I need to do?
It's interesting because you have like there's economy building and the area control, but it really is all just window dressing to how can I get 12 points?
How can I wiggle my points?
Mm.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and the cards I had there was no way I was going to win with the cards I had.
Yeah,
because the one card of the 4 that I had that was worth 3 points, the other 3 were worth 1, was to kill a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And Samuel was the only one with a dragon that was next to me, and he kept running around the other side of the board. So there's no way I was going to get to his dragon.
I didn't want you to kill my dragon.
You could have hopped up on a monolith and jumped down on him.
You could have.
I could have, but the dragon would have been the only thing I could get up there. I didn't have enough leapers or the stone guys.
Yeah. No, I'm very entertained by the fact that I won with I controlled 2 spaces on the board.
Mm-hmm.
I had like 3 pieces left.
Yeah, I mean, you just rolled better.
I was going after you.
I know.
It was like, John, I'm leaving you alone. I'm just going straight after Sam.
You came over to where I was. And I'm like, I'll kill those guys. I get points out of that too. So I just didn't manage to close the deal.
All right. Do we want to rate this?
All right, so we've come to the part of the show where we do the thing.
Oh boy.
Are we going to do the standard Board Game Geek?
Yeah, we'll use the Board Game Geek 1 to 10 scale. I mean, we've been doing it this long. It seems like for consistency's sake.
All right, so
Sam,
boy,
you were the victor.
Kind of a tough call.
That means you get to go first. So
I enjoyed this game. I did win, so always easier to enjoy a game when you win.
As the victor, yes.
By a lot.
That being said, I will try to be a little more. Try to take a step back and remove myself from the victor's seat.
Look at it objectively.
I enjoy it. Right, it's kind of a light, quick tactical game where you have to fight around and solve the puzzle of how exactly you're going to get to 12 points. I enjoy that. There is a lot of dice rolling, which sometimes can be a good thing and sometimes can be a frustrating thing. I had a good time because my dice were hot tonight. If my dice were cold tonight, I would not have had a good time.
Yeah, I want to play Sam when he has cold dice.
Oh, boy.
Put him in the fridge.
How good of a game would that be?
I'm not sure Sam would deal well with that.
Well, the thing is, I like to think I'm a good sport about it, but I don't have as good a time. And I've certainly played plenty of miniatures games where all you do is roll dice and you can make all the bright plays and put you guys in the best positions and then roll nothing but ones. And that feels bad. I don't enjoy that.
Yeah, I think it's all about balancing how much effort do you have to put in to get to the die roll for the die roll to then undo everything.
Yeah, and this is pretty generous. You don't have to put a lot of effort in.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's just a part of me that is always going to be sad when it all comes down to a die roll, and
I mean, it's almost
doesn't
like
go in your favor.
It's almost like the cancel card in Civilization, like in a game where you have to take 2 or 3 turns to build up to something.
Yeah, except it's
and then you roll a 1.
And then
it's the gods of dice canceling it, not the guy across the table.
Because you save up, you get your dragon, you're like, yes, a dragon, and then you roll a 1 and the human you're trying to murder rolls a 6 and the other guy's like, yeah, that was so cool.
That makes for an epic story, but then the leaper chooses your dragon to kill it.
It makes for an epic story for the guy who rolled a 6. For the guy who rolled a 1, you're like,
it sounds like you're talking yourself out of having a good time with this game. Did you have a good time or not?
I did. I just can't shake the feeling that I had a good time because I won.
Well, then make your rating and let's move on. I mean, make the call.
I enjoyed it. I would have had a good time even if I lost. I just would have had, I think, a less good time.
So you're saying it's not a 9?
It's not a 9.
How about an 8?
I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay, we'll go with 7.
I'm going to give it a 7. It's fun. It was fairly light.
And, giving it a 7, that means you'll play it again, right?
I would play it again. Okay. I would play this tomorrow. If we were like, let's play Nexus Ops again, I'd play it tomorrow.
We got other games to play, but maybe.
I mean, we are on our gaming
You've
weekend.
got other games to play.
I mean,
if I had to
that's
go
what I
to
said,
work
maybe.
tomorrow, I probably wouldn't play those.
We have to play Maria.
But I really want to play
You and
Maria.
I are getting out of here, so they might have the opportunity to play it again.
Does that play 3?
Maria's
Yes,
3.
exactly 3.
Yeah, I can leave Nexus Ops.
Maybe. All right, who came in second? Chris?
Chris was second place.
You clawed out a second with how many points?
7, and
Hey,
that was
12?
only because you missed the victory the turn before.
You
I was
had
able to,
a great final round and picked up some real
Yeah,
I
nice
was
if
able to
points.
pick up about 4 points.
If I'd
in the
ended
final
the round before, I think the next highest would have been 3.
Yeah.
And that would have been...
me and Steven,
Yeah,
and
we
I
were
think
tied
John,
And I
did
was
you
at
have-
3 too.
Yeah.
That
no,
would've
I
been-
only had 2.
That would have been hilarious. I wish I'd ended
That's
it a round
not
earlier.
uncommon with Nexus Ops.
Yeah, the score that I have when it was just me and John playing, it was 12-4.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's not a game that you're gonna have close ending scores, but the battles that you have on the table are close.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really about
Yeah.
the secret mission cards and how you can squeeze
Right,
points
how you
out
can
of those.
piece things
but-
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, Chris.
You know, Nexus Op is always a great game to get out on the table. It was a little tough to. I don't think I'd want to play it every week. I'll play it a couple times a year. It's a little tough. It does only play 4. I could see an expansion, maybe add a couple more rings, and
No, it plays 2, 3, and 4. So
Yeah. The problem I think with adding more players is you'd lose some of the tightness of the board. Right? If we're
and
playing
that's the whole point.
Right. I mean, frankly, I fought with John for the middle, but if there were more rings and more space for more players, I don't think you're going to constantly be butting heads with people.
I'm going to have to push back on this. Why do you think it needs more players? I think it's perfect this way.
well, typically we
perfect's
usually
a
have
strong word.
5 or 6.
I mean, yeah, but
for
you just
convenience sake, but I don't think they'd fit well.
yeah. I mean, it's
No,
like
I think
it's
it
like
is a very good game with that, but
it's like trying to play Alien Frontiers with 6 people. You just don't do it.
And when you have this,
You have the ability to, but you don't.
when you have this big, beautiful, long table, you lay out 2 games, and you just play 2 separate games at the same time at the same table, and there's nothing wrong with
Yeah,
that.
if 5 people show up, then yeah, you don't get to play Nexus Ops.
You
but
play a
those,
2 and a 3.
those days when 4 people show up, maybe you consider it.
and when 5 people show up,
You don't
What I
play
just-
Nexus Ops.
What I just said, you
you
don't
play
play
El
Nexus
Grand.
Ops.
Well, no. One of the groups plays a 3-player game of Nexus Ops, which it plays very well, and the other one plays a 2-player game. You play Unmatched, or you play one of the other games that we've done, or you play Azul, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
okay.
think this is perfect at 4.
Yeah, I mean, not every game has to play every number of players.
you're right.
I mean,
I'll
we've
take
got
that.
game.
Don't overstretch something, and that's what I told the guy that's doing Wings for the Baron a second time. Don't overstretch something and break it. Make
Yeah.
it if it plays well with this group, then just
Yeah.
leave it be, and
I
that's just what it's
I
going to be.
think the way the map is set up and the size of things is such an integral part of what makes it interesting and fun to play that changing the map at all risks disturbing that
Okay,
balance.
so just a quick vote here. Chris is wrong.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
we all agree Chris
Okay,
is wrong.
so there's
okay.
consensus.
It happens every once in a while. How about my rating?
How about your rating?
What is your rating? You haven't said it yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we can get to that.
I'll give it a monolithic 7.
Oh.
I wish I thought.
Am I right or wrong?
I mean, I also rated it a 7, so I suppose I have to say you're correct.
Wow. And I think, did you have more points than me, Stephen?
So, Nexus Ops. One of the things that we set out to do with this podcast, and I know I've mentioned this before, but it's to really highlight these games that we think are good and other people should be paying attention to. And so Nexus Ops is fully within that purview, because this is a game that I really think that there's something in this box for everybody.
I do strongly disagree with that there is something in there for everybody.
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
There are several people that we play games with, that would just not like this game, just because of all the conflict.
Yeah, but so as I was saying, like, the conflict is so inconsequential.
Some people just don't like it.
Yeah, okay, I
Some
get
people
that.
just
All
don't
right.
like it, and
So
that's
for about
fine.
Yeah, but we don't
90%,
like those people.
It does conflict
There's
really
something
well.
in Nexus Ops for about 90% of people.
For everyone who matters, there's something in Nexus Ops. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying 90%.
Sure that's not what you're trying to say?
90% of people.
It feels like that's what you're trying to say.
No, we're going to go with 90%. All right.
So, all right.
All right, hold on. 78%.
There we go. That's a good number.
No, 88%. 88% of people.
I was with 78.
So you rated an 8, but for 88% of the people, which means it comes in just a little bit more than a 7.
Yeah, it's right at a 7 for sure.
That's perfect.
I mean, you do the math.
All right, so you know what? I'm gonna go the absolute opposite way. You all are talking too much. It's just a fun game, and it's a kid's game that lifts your spirits, and it's just fun. Doesn't take too long to play. You get a chance to get it out. It's the kind of game you can play twice. It's just fun. It's just don't overthink it. It's just go out and have a good time. Easily a 7 as far as I'm concerned.
Yep. All right, cool. Anyone got any parting thoughts? The fluorescing minis are really cool.
It is, but then actually the new set looks pretty cool too. It doesn't have the fluoresce, but it's really cool color.
I mean, it's cool. It really doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, it's very impractical to play that way.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But it's cool to know that it happens.
It's cool to know that it happens. It was neat to see it, but it's not a selling point.
Yeah, it would be difficult to play like that. So
Maybe in my gaming table, I could get some black lights on the sides.
Oh
when
my
it's
God.
down in the well, it might really make it pop.
Oh boy.
I hear a project incoming.
I hear
It sounds like we're playing
a
again.
new wave of Kickstarters.